right, we have Chukwudi Okoli Ubaja with us this morning. Good to see you, Chukwudi. Good morning.
Point of correction. Okoli Ubaja. I am from Delta. you took me across the Niger. How are you, my dear? Stop laughing. That's everything in a label.
Compliments of the season once again. I guess I've said that so many times because we've been here together all through the week.
You're welcome, gentlemen and lady.
All right, Chukwudi Okoli Ubaja. Let's look at the paper. The lead stories on the papers that we have. We'll begin with the People's Daily. It leads with FG debunks Nigeria, France in pact to destabilize Niger Republic. Reuters says Niger leaders' allegations against Nigeria baseless. Charges too weighty to be ignored. Pro-democracy group. All right, away from that, another sad report from Jigawa State. Again, Jigawa governor loses son 24 hours after mother's death. Not a good one. No. Close to that, Sokoto, we struck targets associated with Lakurawa group. That's according to the military. And away from that, we can see a picture here, a beautiful picture I cannot ignore, and it is tagged Unbridled Joy. Christmas cheer in full swing as children play in Abuja. Beautiful. This is a season to enjoy. Away from the picture story, we have NAF logged nearly 20,000 flight hours in 2024. Below that, Christmas Day attack. Bandits kill 11 people in Benue community. Troops destroy terrorist camps in Katsina community. It's also right here. And next to that, police detain man for slitting friend's throat in Kogi. Finally, from the People's Daily this morning, we have over 50% of sub-Saharan Africans. All right. What's that about? Okay. Over 50% of sub-Saharan Africans poor, according to the World Bank. All right, let's look away from the People's Daily now and see what the Daily Sun is offering. The Daily Sun has the lead caption here: Bloody Christmas in Benue. Suspected headsmen kill 11. Troops arrest 20 suspected killers in Plateau. That's on page 4 of the Daily Sun. Just below Master Nigeria's allegations against Nigeria baseless. That's coming from the federal government. We warned Nigeria about Lakurawa terrorist group, but they ignored us. That's coming from Niger. LND says claims too weighty to be ignored, demands investigation. And beside the masthead, of course, 2027 is on the minds of politicians. Here, the caption is APC hits Kwankwaso, calls him refugee politician. Party vows to win Kano. That's on page 26 of the Daily Sun. Away from that, let's look below the front page now. We have Ibadan Stampede. Nance blames government for death of 35 children, others. Details on page 6. Away from that, we have Chief of Army Staff feats frontline troops in Maiduguri, pledges improved welfare. Finally, from the front page of the Daily Sun this morning, Navy intercepts boat laden with 100,000 liters of stolen crude oil in Ondo. Page 4. Victor.
All right, thank you very much, Yonwe. The Leadership Friday leads with Sahel crisis. FG dismisses Niger leaders' allegation against Nigeria. And that has 3 riders. Says no conspiracy with France to destabilize region. Chiani accuses Nigerians of funding Boko Haram. Northern Democrats demand probe. And that story is on page 4. And just below that, 1. Sokoto airstrike was precise. That's credited to the CDS, Chief of Defense Staff. And beside the nameplate, mergers, acquisitions in Nigeria hit $3.8 billion. For details, go to page 22 of the Leadership Friday. And there's a picture story showing a cross-section of children celebrating Christmas at a park in Lagos. And bandits kill 12, abduct several children in Benue, page 6. And finally, after mother's death, Jigawa governor loses son, page 4. Chukwudi.
Let me start with the rather, sad news that killers have struck in Plateau again. But to quickly follow that up with arrests have been made. When I was in Jos for 4 years, the frustration was that the killing was happening with near impunity. You were asking yourself, when is the next one happening? It's not as if you're packing morbidity into human expectation, but that was practically what was happening, and it was not
without
funny at all.
consequence.
I remember when we went to the place I reported the killings that happened in one community. They are just after 3 hours we got there, and the sole person we met in the village was an old woman. I remember my pistol camera. These animals, referring to the sheep and the goats and all that, must be wondering where their owners have gone to. You know, it got that bad that we had to depict the desertion of the village. You know, I remember that stand-up, that pistol camera. So the question you ask yourself is the cycle of violence on the plateau going to continue on and on? But as I said, the report that they have arrested some people comes as cheering news, because we were wondering whether it was ghosts or spirits attacking. James Maddock was, the chief press secretary, you know, and we were always having this headache of deciding, talking about what was happening to us. Maddock said then that the sad part of it was that it is strangers that come from outside to give them trouble in jail, and they run away after that. You know, whoever sponsors them, we didn't know. So I'm happy that arrests have been made. The natural thing to do now is, where does that take us? Are we going to have people brought to justice over killing unarmed civilians? It's not fair at all.
And
the FG, yes, the FG and I know that it's going to be, you know, catch me if you can, between parties, not the. I think that Nigerian authorities are proving a bit, intransigent about what's happening in the. There's going to be mutual suspicion between two parties, particularly Nigeria signed a pact with France certain development issues. I remember that I saw Peter Ilumilu, on behalf of Nigeria, as part of the delegation of the president. Then, the question is, how do you manage the relations between Niger and Nigeria, so that you don't think that because Nigeria now going into a very robust with France, exactly, that it means that the enemy we chase out is our borders and all that. I think it's happening now. But at the end of the day, a country would always project that which is in its national interest. Our brother are right to be, because you hear some people, our relations like Cameroon and Abuja, which is true. So our African boundaries in terms of segregated ethnicity, that's understandable. Nigeria has to be thought about. Please, whatever happens, let Nigeria continue to show more maturity. And this boys in khaki over the child should pipe down a bit and know that Nigeria has to pursue its own interests. They talk about that actually want Nigeria about long ago and all that, all those allegations. You're going to tell a country trouble is coming and they feel their arm not take action. Anyway, and that means sister said, we still think we can strike precise. We're going to target wanted and all that. What it implies, what was guessing, speculate into danger zone. There were terrorists among those villages. Maybe the villagers harboring them. The villagers harboring them. Were they harboring them? Question by themselves.
duress.
In which case, we need to show the villagers some understanding as well. And maybe rely on a lot of intel and the embedding of people to handle them rather than come with the missiles and all that. You know, you need tact and strategies that work so that collateral damage is reduced to the barest minimum. That's what I think about that.
Well said, Chukwudi. Any other headline we should talk about?
50% of sub-Saharan Africans are poor. And you say you are talking about people in arable land, whom agriculture is open and available to, agrarian, environment that is poor. It tells you that planning is not happening well, because you can turn these people's lives into a robust, livable lives. So what is the government doing to ensure that these people, their poverty is not although some of these things are caused by internecine conflicts going on and on, causing too much killings on both sides and all that. That's part of it. We need to work on it.
The 2025 budget seems to suggest that government is going to do something big in agriculture.
Yes.
But then we just have to wait and see what that is. You are talking about land being available to people, but if you don't own the land, you are jobless, but the land is not actually available to you.
I think Africa is still fairly generous. Land is not too unavailable to those who want to farm in Nigeria. It really mean to, and I'm talking from experience. So, part of the problem in Nigeria is that when we even suggest to young people, I have work in the farm, let's go, and they look at you as if you're talking nonsense. I said they're never hungry rich, So orientation also matters. Nyere would say, why don't we make agriculture as attractive as we can? This manual labor approach to agriculture might not be encouraging people to get into it. True. She has a point. So these are some of the things you do.
Of course, nations that reap big from agriculture they do mechanized farming.
Of course, yes.
They do mechanized farming. They don't do the kind of level farming that we do here.
Exactly.
And again, you talked about the people not taking advantage of arable land. You must also look at leadership of some of these countries. Yes, exactly. Because security, for example, is a major issue why some people don't go to the farms in Nigeria.
Yes.
And then again, you go to the farms, they are deep inside these villages. How do you get your products out? No good road network.
Yes.
There are a lot of other factors. So you see what happens is a farmer toils all through the farming season. At the end of the day, there's nothing to go back home with, because some what do they call them? You were talking about this word. The people who come, take these goods at very cheap rate from the farmers because they know.
The vampires.
Exactly, the vampires.
They get to massacre
so the farmers
market,
don't really make anything good.
It's a market, and they sell, at prices that challenge God's residence in heaven, if that is where God lives.
So a lot of things. We need to do a lot of things to make agriculture, because make the people richer than they are at the moment.
Exactly.
So that's a fine point to leave.
That's a good one by the Navy intercepting stolen crude in Ondo. There was talk about military people aiding and abetting. We hear things in the Niger Delta. So when you see news like this, Navy intercepts stolen crude in Ondo, I think it is something that tells us that they are trying to live up to expectation.
All right. The producer says we need to end the conversation on this preview. Many thanks, Chukwudi Okolie-Ugbaja.
You are intelligent. You indeed wrote mathematics and passed it 2 times.
Not 2 times, I'm not sure.
That was part of it.
One sitting, not 2 times, please.
Your name is not that complicated to be equated with ADMA.
The producer says our time is up.
Yes, and that's why we want you to leave us in peace. Have a great day.
As usual. I know you.
Good morning, Nigeria continues after this time. Please don't go away.